So we've been able to pull another speaker aside here at the International Master Gardener Conference, and joining me is Mike DeRee, who is with the Ball Horticulture Seed Company. So Mike, tell me a little bit about Ball's history. They've been a very prominent figure in providing a lot of our annual color over the years.
Yes, Casey, Ball has been in business since 1905. It's a privately held company, which is wonderful for me. And we're now in our third generation, about to go into the fourth generation. So we've been almost 120 years old.
And they've got quite a legacy over these numerous decades, really. And you're based out of Chicago, but you provide plants worldwide, right?
That is correct. The explosion really started about the mid-90s when the third generation, when Anna Ball took over from her father and mother. And since then, she has taken the company global, for sure.
And so really you guys sell to growers predominantly, or tell me a little bit about, because we're talking with consumers, and I know consumers have your plants, but often they probably get them from their growers and stuff. Is that kind of how it works?
That is correct, Casey. We're one step kind of behind the scenes, where we actually, in my job, I work with the growers to make decisions of what to grow, what to fill their greenhouses with, what to offer the consumer.
All right, and there's always so many that are coming up. I know I, as a horticulturist, have a hard time keeping up with all the new varieties. Can you give us a little teaser of what we're seeing in 2023 and maybe what's to come in 2024 also?
Oh, that's such a great question. Generally, there's 300 to 400 new varieties every year, and a lot of it depends on what the breeders are trying to accomplish, whether they're trying to accomplish a concern that that the growers are having, or whether it's just flat out competition and they're getting beat by something. So I would say we always do there's a lot of breeding going on in calibrachoas. There's always a lot of breeding going on in petunias.
So let's talk about calibrachoas. They're kind of number one right now. Is that what I understand?
In North America, Casey, they're definitely the number one selling plant in North America by far, which is amazing, by far.
And they've got so much variety. You can get any color under the sun, it seems like.
Yes, one of the things we discussed, or was part of the presentation, was that between about the top 10 worldwide breeders, the grower probably has 400 or more varieties to choose from.
Just of calibrachoa?
Just of calibrachoa, yes.
So that's a lot for them to kind of narrow down that ultimately gets to the consumer then.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so.
Very challenging.
I'm sure. So let's talk about some of those problems that you were saying people maybe are facing. So as far as breeding and that sort of stuff, they're trying to resolve some of the issues for resistance and stuff. Can you talk about some of maybe the varieties you have?
The one that comes to mind right away, obviously, is impatiens. And there's different types of impatiens, but what has always just been the landscape impatiens in the ground, somewhere about a dozen years ago, was decimated by downy mildew. And downy mildew actually would stay, unfortunately, once it attacked the plant, the spores could fall into the ground. If one leaf was in the flower bed and never got cleaned out, the spores could stay in the soil and to resurrect the next year and destroy the crop again. And so the breeder spent 10 years, breeders and scientists both spent 10 years trying to find an answer. And about 3 years ago had a major breakthrough. And we'll never say they're downy mildew resistant, but they're downy mildew tolerant, which means they can get attacked by the disease, but it will not kill them anymore. They'll grow through it and they'll still perform.
Okay, excellent. And I know you showed a whole bunch of slides just now of some amazing plants. So I'm trying to condense this for our viewers a little bit. But one of the ones that stood out was what has changed with the dragonwing begonia. Can you tell me a little bit about that newer variety? It's got like a chartreuse leaf to it.
Okay, so within the dragonwings, a couple of things, Casey, if you'll allow this, is the viewers might find it interesting too that it actually sat on the shelf for 25 years before anybody knew what to do with it. So then it hit the market with a green leaf, pink flower, red flower. Red's really kind of an orange, but we call it red. And then white was introduced with a green leaf white. Somewhere, what you're referring to is that about 5 years ago in a greenhouse in Ohio, one dragonwing sported to a chartreuse sprout or branch. And the young man that owned the greenhouse thought, oh, this is pretty cool. So actually,
and that was just accidental then, right?
Total accidental. Yeah. That's one of those acts of God we talk about. And he took that. It has now become commercially available as canary wings. So it's about 2/3 the size of dragonwing, but chartreuse foliage, still blooms well, and does phenomenal. Yes, the red bloom. Thank you. And does really, really well in the shade and really brightens a dark, shady spot.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I know you've got some smaller, compact lantanas also that you're offering. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Well, one of the things we talked about was breeders are trying to fit all different kinds of niches. And we see the movement over the last, 20 years actually has been out of the ground and into containers. So the lantanas of old that were really semi-shrubs kind of lost their luster. And the other thing with the old lantanas is they would cycle in and out of bloom. And so breeders said, well, there's an opportunity. They're too big for containers. So they've worked really hard at two things. One, breeding them down. And so now we have small to medium to larger ones, but none of those being larger than the old standbys. And also the fact that they really work extremely hard at reblooming. So they're always in bloom. And the easy way to see that in the garden center is you'll see two blooms, and if you look closely, you'll see the next two, and sometimes you even see the next two coming. They're already coming. Okay. Very cool. Very
excellent. Cool. And tell us a little bit also, you're not just looking at the ornamental world, right? I mean, there are people that just want to grow vegetables, right? And you're trying to help them also.
Yes. So it goes back to, we're seeing, so this is a generational thing, I'll at least put it that way in kind terms. So we're seeing the younger generation, the millennial generation, if you will. They really love gardening. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, but they don't always have the space. And big gardens have obviously, for a lot of reasons, are not as prevalent as they once were. So for a millennial that has yet to maybe hit the house or just has a deck or, an apartment even, right. We're really shrinking and offering a lot of peppers, tomato varieties, and now a new cucumber that can be finished in a small pot and that can actually produce, but understand it's kind of like one and done. It's kind of like buying the tub of little cherry tomatoes in the store. Right. But what you get with that is you get to grow it yourself. Right. And then when they're done, the hope, at least the millennials in the company believe that now they'll just go buy another one, and they can continue to do that over and over and over.
So instead of going to the grocery store and buying more tomatoes, you're actually going to the plant nursery and buying another plant for your true vine-ripened tomato that way.
Yes.
But at the very least, it might be a way to get their toes in the water on gardening, right? So maybe they do then go on and get some bigger tomatoes or something.
We do know there's a lot of interest in that generation in cooking, in herbs. And so we're trying to, extrapolate that and go into vegetables and just make it very easy.
Well, Mike, this is great information. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Thank you for allowing me to be part of this.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.